Hey, and welcome back. It has been a while. Let me just start by saying that. A long time. But this is the return of what we used to call the Presenter Mastery podcast. It's currently called that. What it will be called tomorrow, you will know on another day. This is Lucas, the amateur speaker and CEO of Headgain, and together in the studio today I have Mr. Alexander Grabner Jarlung!
Whoop, whoop in the house, whoop, whoop. Thank you for that. Thank you so much for that very warm welcome. I mean, we've only been working together for the last, what is it, 6 years?
It has been
6,
7 very long years. And it is a pleasure. A lot of stuff has happened, and me and Alex are now at the steering wheels of what is called Headgain, the company. And we said, you know what? Let's jump into the podcast studio and do something fun. So here we are.
We are. The thing was that what did really go down in 2025 is kind of, sort of, somewhat the reason why we're sitting here, you and I. To give you a little brief insight to all the listeners that are out there, 2025, the global market's really hard, and this is the first time in eons that we were also affected. Running Presenter Mastery since, what was it, the end of 2022, Lucas, right? We started off the Presenter Mastery program.
It is something like that, yes.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. And then we saw that, because we always had this methodology, how do you say this?
Method?
The method. Yeah, so the method was that the thought were always to be able to give as many as possible communication skills so they know how to do it. And this has been something that Dave has been really working for years and decades. But when we found the Presenter Mastery, it was a really big, we collected everything that we had into one program only, and we ran it for so many years. And we have had over, what was it that we calculated? Over 500 people went through this very high level, long commitment term, 1 year program, in some cases half a year program. But at the end of 2025, the company came to the conclusion that the model itself, unfortunately, it had reached its final potential, right? If I'm not mistaken, you being the CEO of Headgain.
Well, I would say there are a lot of things that happened all at the same time. You saw an increase of, AI came into play, and it became really easy to just get answers on a lot of stuff, right? I think AI affected the coaching business as a whole, but at the same time, we were also hit with tariffs all over the world, so the economy became a bit crazy. We saw that companies were making drawbacks on investment plans. Basically, just say my friend, my neighbor, who usually, and this is crazy, he's a mid-manager, and he had a spending budget of 15,000 euros per year on education, which was cut to zero. I recently had a conversation with a very high level executive at a very big company, and they are doing the same thing. The educational budgets are not being spent, they're being drawn back to zero. And there is a real change in the market. So that, ad spend, tariffs, a lot of stuff happened, and it became increasingly hard to run the business as it was. Which was why we had to make the very hard decision on doing drawback in the company and reshaping and doing something else, which is why you and I are here, Alex. It's basically on where we are now. And what we're doing is we've launched something that we call the Speaking Blueprint. And it's a really fun project. It includes, as Presenter Mastery did, but even a little bit better, I would say, because it includes every single piece of content, every single piece of course, every single piece of training we've ever done in one place. And on a monthly recurring basis, you can have a Q&A directly with Alex, just answering any questions you have around communication. And we've also just recently launched a second tier, which is super cool, which is basically doing what we did best inside of Presenter Mastery, which is weekly calls with, you get training, Q&A, feedback on delivery, on mindset, on content, the stuff that you need to move forwards in speaking generally. And the super special is offline and actually meeting us and hanging out and having a good time. But I would say those are like the features of what it is. At the essence and at the core of what it is about building community. It is about having fun together, growing together, sharing whatever you're winning, losing, whatever it is. That is what it's about. Because I see in the era of today, I mean, Alex, AI is everywhere. AI is on social media, AI is in whatever we're writing. You don't even know if someone has written the email themselves or not.
No, exactly.
And I think there is a kind of a trust deficiency where you cannot trust anymore what you're seeing on your screen, which is why it's like after COVID. Everyone wanted to come together and meet, right?
Yeah.
But now it's like AI is not. Will there be a post AI world where AI has just left? Like COVID is not
It's
around
like
anymore.
It
But
opted out.
yeah, I don't think so. So what
Yeah.
can we do? We can meet up and we can have genuine conversations. And that's what I believe at the core a community is. Genuine conversations, getting to know each other and having a good time.
So long story short, we're back, baby. We're back. That is the thing. So we have not posted any of the podcasts for eons, right? So we're back. We're just here to state that with you guys. We want you to still be mesmerized. We want you to be excited. We want you to find motivation, inspiration, to just either be a part of us and join us in the Speaking Blueprint, or just listen to advice that both myself and Lucas, and of course, now upcoming, we're going to invite a bunch of guests. We're having a lineup of guests just waiting to share their insights and their knowledge and so on and so forth. So again, long story short, we're back, baby. You will be able to listen to our podcasts more often. And I think this is one of those, we're not going to go anywhere. We're going to stick to this time. So hopefully you're looking forward to listening to this. But what are we talking? Hey, what are we doing today? What's the story, Morning Glory?
Yes. Okay. So there are so many topics that you can speak about when it comes to speaking, obviously.
Yeah.
But one thing that is really close at hand currently, because we're working very close with a team of 10 people on creating their signature talk, which is a really cool project. And the thing is that when I sit and look at these 10, I'm realizing they've joined all from the same kind of perspective. They want something, and they want to change something about their business. They want to add value. And so I thought the topic for speaking about today is what speaking means for your business. And with that, because it means so much. It's anywhere from, if you cannot talk about your business in a way that entices and tickles people's brains, why would they invest with you? Why would they be interested in what you have to say? If you don't know how to speak, how would you even begin doing marketing or
so hard.
Standing on a stage? Would standing on a stage be important for your business? So I think that would be the opener and the top topic.
Top topic of today.
Yes. So in essence, Alex, what does it mean to a business when it comes, like, what does speaking mean for a business?
Where to start, Lucas? Where to start? Well, you kind of you said it. What does it mean? Like, and also, what does it mean for your business? First of all, I just have to refresh my own memory because it's been so long since I were in a business, so to say. And even if it wasn't my business, but it was still the business, and it became my work was my business. I just remembered that when I went to, because I was doing these things. I was the district manager of a cell phone. Now it's more like a network provider. So I was having all the retailers, and I was in charge of them to make sure that they sold our products and service. And it goes, I mean, it's the same thing. It's a product, service, and it was a business. I remember when my communication shifted back in, it must have been like 2010, after I've gone through the first trainings, but when the clients requested moi, because there were a genuine interest, because what I did and what I had a colleague that was also mesmerized by communication, what we did together as a team towards them, it was just so different from everybody else. So the important was that how we could stimulate them. And even if we were buying them with Red Bulls and chips and bags, they were coming to these conferences, and they had a party maybe the day before, and they came in the next room the next day into the room. They were kind of, how should I say it? They had like a heavy head. Maybe the Red Bulls did the work, or the energy drinks, or maybe the chips did the work, or the candy. But at the same time, we were there with a mission and a goal. And I think that is the importance, what communication does to your company when you speak about it to other people. If you can shift their mindset of what would they be used to seeing or what they expect to see to something totally different, then that is the thing. And that's something I believe one of the few things I would probably contribute to the world. It's not my word to it, because I don't own the word, but the way of using the unicorn effect is something that I've really dug in deep the last couple of years of just finding the understanding. How can I make a person's business, when they talk about it, a special thing? Something that hopefully nobody else have heard that kind of industry talk in the matter of when they're describing their business. But yeah, we will probably later down the road talk more about that unicorn thing. But what is it for you? What do you think? Because you're coming from a totally different standpoint where you're like your history wise.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just sitting and thinking about it, I'm realizing. So my first proper job was at an amusement park, Gröna Lund in Stockholm. And I worked there for 2 summers. It was really fun. And my job was in the games, right? So you see, my job was to make people happy. My job was to make people laugh and get them to spend money. Play the game, win something. And it didn't matter which game I was in, the job was the same, right? Sure, the games changed. Some were chocolate wheels, some were bang on this thing so a frog flies up in the air and lands on a flower. And then there was one specific game, the Kentucky Derby. Have you played that at
I love that one. Is it the horses, right? Where you...
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So the job is, for you to play this game, is you have, I think it's 2 or 3 balls that you have, and then you roll them and you try to land inside of a hole. And if you land in the hole with a 1, which is the easiest one, the horse takes 1 step. The 2, 2 steps, and the 3, the hardest one at the top, a red circle, 3 steps. They all start at the same time. I think it's 8 seats next to each other. And then my job, standing in that, I also had a microphone and speakers. So I was commenting on the race, and I gave the horses names, and I was shouting at the top of my lungs and just having a blast. I loved it.
Yeah.
And people loved coming to it. I even had the manager come by one day, stopping outside. It was one of those big days in summer. It's like hot. People have been drinking beers all day long. It's now coming to the evening, so it's like it's a good feel. And there's a concert coming up shortly, and then people are just like bashing around all over the place, full park. And I'm in this game, and I'm having the time of my life. And I see my boss coming, and he stops outside of the booth. I have a line of people, like it's stacked with people. 8 seats full, 8 people behind them, 8 people behind them. Everyone's ready to get in. And he stands there for, I think, 10 minutes. I'm kind of thinking, am I doing something wrong? Am I doing something right? What's happening? But, he's not giving me a thumbs down, so I'll just keep going. Eventually he leaves. And at the end of the shift, we all have to walk through the park with our money bags to go to the security. And when we come there, he's there and he tells everyone, like, I stood and listened today. And this is exactly what this job is about. This is exactly how we build happiness, and because of that, and then I won some sort of award. It was so cool. I didn't even know there was an award to win. I just had a blast. And I think that's the thing. It is like you need to get over some sort of barrier and then just go all in on what you're doing. Does speaking have a part of it? Obviously it has. Confidence in yourself and knowing what you're doing also has a part, but it's, you could have just had that game and no one commenting, but it wouldn't have been fun.
No.
It wouldn't have been the
same.
That is
true. Yeah.
It wouldn't have been the same. So, and it's like, I think speaking is like a singer as well. Like this is a personal taste, of course, but I enjoy singing. I don't enjoy music without song that much, not equally. But I mean,
you and I were totally different when it comes to music styles. There, I got a BPM of 180 plus. No song, like no lyrics whatsoever. I know the funny thing, guys. You need to know this. Is sometimes Lucas is like, "Have you heard that song? Did you listen to the lyrics?" I'm like, dude, I'm not a lyrics man. I'm not a lyrics individual. I like, give me a hardcore, hard style, like beat, a French core, whatever. And sometimes when I give Lucas the insights of my music genre, he goes, wrong. But anyway, coming back to the question at hand, so communication versus, speaking your business, how important is it? I would say it's imperative. Like to just short run it. And I think you agree with that as well. But both things that both you and I probably have seen over the years and experiences, that when you let the passion be there, even if it's not your company, but it can be your company, like either you're an employee or you're owning your own business, the second you have that passion and show it, that is where you have something to work on. So pretty much the first thing is to decide, do I want to speak about what I do and then optimize it? Because anyone knows, any listener who goes into this will probably remember one of those networking situations where literally the framework is you shake somebody's hand and you're like, oh, so what do you do for a living? And then either one thing, they're just really fast on what they're saying. Okay, my name is, and then they're saying it. Or it's one of those that just talks and never stops talking
Mhm.
because they're so into their thing. But I truly, and I don't know if this has to do, but it's a genuine interest from both sides. That is when you can really find a good epiphany of really, so you do, oh, that's great. So in my industry, and all of a sudden you find these little hidden connections that you didn't have before. Again, publicly speaking about it is probably one of the big traits, but be smart how you do it. So it showed, I love how somebody saw you because they were just sitting there or standing there and listening to what it was you made them. Of course, you made them money because people were playing, but at the same time, you were enjoying it. And if you enjoy it, the communication around not only you as the person, because you represented something important, right? You represented what they spent money on at the amusement park, the Gröna Lund. So yeah, that's I like that.
Yeah, and I mean, we also talked about like what to put emphasis on. And I think for me personally, whenever I've been on a stage or whatever I've been doing when I speak in front of people, it's not always been about exactly what it is that I want to share.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I need to think about. Last Monday,
Oh yeah, that's right.
I was invited to speak about marketing, and it's fun. I made the preparations. I knew, okay, they are students. They're studying entrepreneurship and coaching, and what they need when they come out of this education is getting a structure to follow when it comes to marketing, basically. Just like focus on these 5 steps. Whatever you do, focus on these 5, calculate them, make them important, and then make actions on each step. And what I realized while I was standing there, it was more for me about having fun together with them, because as soon as I was having fun together with the group, we laughed, we had a good time, and they could take my advice and actually listen to it, but it didn't have to be so serious, because honestly, it is me for 30 minutes, and it's going to take them a year before they can start implementing this. So should I be super detailed, or should I make marketing sound fun, interesting, engaging, and simple?
Yeah. So what you did was probably then, I guess, create emotion and then justify things with a bunch of logic. Yeah. Yeah. See, those two sentences, I think this is going to be the most provocative that I can in this episode, is that you just need to stop doing what you're doing. Whoever's listening, if you're in the corporate rounds or if you're running your business, you don't push numbers down people's throats. You don't push the outcome into like information about the outcome in people's throats. What you need to focus on is to create the emotional connection to it and then justify whatever you're saying with the logic. Then you have the perfect feng shui in somebody's soul and in brain to say, okay, like you did, Lucas, you were thinking, how can I what can I give them as a device? What can I make them feel? How can I make it engaging? How can you and I, like them and you, do something together in that, so they get, because that will become a beautiful memory. Like, did you remember that public speaker, the guy who was working with Hagen? He was so cool because he was interacting with us, and we were having all these questions, and we had all these, it was a unity entity. It was cool. I'm very happy that you had that as a direction that you wanted to take. If I may, I had also epiphany, not from my side, but a couple of days ago I went to Norway and I did a 2 days presentation skills training, and it was a great training. The people were just amazing, great humans, amazing company. And I know I said amazing twice here, but what they do is really, it makes the world better and better. But anyway, I had one guy come up to me afterwards and he said, "You know what, Alex?" And he looked me into my eyes and he said, and I thought, okay, it's something he didn't feel good about, but you know what? When I first saw the invitation, 2 days presentation skills training, I'm like, for really, how can you speak for really? That's a new one. For real, how can you speak 2 full days about presentation skills? But the way that we have done it to make people understand is, he afterwards said, I now, it wasn't presentation skills training we did here. It was communication skills. it was human to human interactions. And I'm like, wow, yes, exactly. That was what I was aiming for, because I don't want you to see yourself as stepping into the role as when you present your company, when you present your industry, when you present and whatever you're representing, it shouldn't be a facade. It shouldn't be something that you aren't. It should just be human communication from one to another. And he was like, thank you so much. I have so much to work on. I'm so fatigued in my head right now. I don't even know where to start. And I'm like, well, did you take some notes? And he goes, yeah. I was like, good. Look at your notes first and then have a conversation with me if you need any help. So it was just beautiful to see how I did my very best and just tried to get them out of that little bubble of presentation skills and presenting something and just communicate instead. And that's all I have to say about that.
Well, I love that because it's back again what we talked about a couple of minutes ago with AI and the increasing value of proper human connection. And I'm seeing it's not just us sitting here and making something up. I'm seeing people flock over to the platform Skool because they're just tired of the social media sludge which is going on, and they're looking for human connection. I also think that we're going to search way further to meet up with people. I think that is the thing. And it's becoming, I read this and I think it was so interesting that, all of these developers based on AI, right? So you've got all of these tech developers now who in the past, it was important for them to know their shit. Okay.
Yeah.
It was important for them to know how to code, to know how to do stacking, whatever you call it, data-wise. But now suddenly you have AI that can help you 20, 30, 40, 50% along the way, depending on how complex it is. And it's becoming increasingly important to be able to speak your value, which they did not have to do before.
No. Oh, yeah.
Because you could just go into an interview and show, this is the data sheet of my CV. Like, this is how advanced I am. And it would be enough because they will be just hiring. Now people are being let go. Big companies like Microsoft, Oracle, Google, everyone is just letting people go. And then it's becoming a game of who can tell the best story about who they are and what they have done. So how important is speaking for your business? It's not crucial. It's not, it is life or death, I would say. It is the oxygen. You used to talk about money being the oxygen for a business, but I would counter and say that speaking has become the new oxygen.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And it's so fun, after starting the Speaking Blueprint and seeing the people in the 30-day confidence track, the first thing that they get faced with, the videos they're getting out there, and the urge of just a feedback from that, and just like Alex, Lucas, are we doing this right? Am I proceeding this in the right way? How am I? I'm like, going, you know what? You're doing well. You're doing great, buddy. It's good because what sparks in this, what I've seen over these 30 days, it's not about how well they become in communication. It's not how well they use non-filler sounds or not using filler sounds or using the functional gestures, facial expression or pauses, whatever. It's that little spark of, you know what? This is pretty fun. This is pretty exciting. They understand that there's something that they need to live up to, not by pressure, by presence instead. So they're just doing these videos, uploading them, asking for some favors in return. Or is this good enough? It's sublime. It's excellent compared to where you were 30 days ago or 29 days ago. This is it's a totally different new you without changing your personality. So speaking about for your business is for any success. You're saying it, Lucas, several times. You put the word to it. And I just say that, humanity is on the brink of becoming, if not already, very AI fatigued. We want to have back the connection with another human being, so speak about your business, do it, start somewhere. So I think that what would be the three things that you would say, like a call to action, if people who are listening today, what would they? And I know this sounds like one of those, this is one of those show reels, but I'm just, both of us are here for one simple reason. We want to give you something. We want to give you either value of just listening into our thoughts, but also some value to, like, what can I do? What can I do if I sit here as a business owner listening to Alex and Lucas in this podcast? Lucas, what would be your call to action, like right now from that state?
I mean, you have to do something. whatever you do, do something. Something is better than nothing. Just staying in the same lane and not making any changes is never going to be the way to move forward. So that is it. I would say if you want 3 things, Alex, well, do something, obviously. Listen to this podcast and go in and check out our content. Head over to our school groups. Like we host 2 different school groups. One is called the Public Speaking Community, which is a free community. We'll host this podcast in there. We'll do some stuff there around public speaking if you're interested in the topic. And if you're serious and really want to make a change, you want our feedback, you want to get like what Alex talked about, the 30-day confidence track, and just starting making videos that you can get feedback on and making a change to how you speak and just building confidence and clarity in your message, you get on the Speaking Blueprint. It's as simple as that. It's if you want to make a change, discover more, look into the communities and the stuff that we're doing, because I know that it works. We've already surpassed and have had 200 people move through the confidence track, and I'm seeing results daily. So
good. Well, thank you so much, Lucas, for that. The outcome, what will happen now is that the next time you will listen to us, you will probably get some more value, some insights. So we hope dearly that if you haven't already, hit the press and subscribe and the like button and rate us, whatever you want, all the cool things. You want to connect with us, we would love to see your face on social media. So if you want to connect on LinkedIn, please go ahead and do so, both with me, Alexander Gradmer Jarlung, and also with my co-host, which is
Lukas Reuterstig.
Exactly. And from that end, I think this is the first one after a long break, and this is not going to be the last one, but this has been the podcast, which we don't name with the podcast with
name
no
to
name
be
yet.
TBD.
Yeah, TBD. The name TBD. And it's been great. Thank you, Lucas, for sharing the insights. And I'm looking forward to share more of them next time on the next podcast. Until then, as I always say, even if I'm not Italian, arrivederci tutti.
See ya.